Chapter 27. Transfer. Occoquan had no real rehabilitation infrastructure for a teenager. The infrastructure was at Youth Center 1, where the asshole judge decided I was too advanced for. My counselors didn't like the fact that a teenager would be sitting around doing nothing all day, so the week after my 18th birthday, I was transferred out of Lawton and the DOC and sent to the Feds, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the largest prison system in the world. I was strip searched, handcuffed, shackled, and placed onto a bus with around 50 other convicts for a 2.5-hour drive. I was sent to a prison called FCI Petersburg. It was in Petersburg, Virginia. The federal prison system, along with McNeil Island and Walla Walla state prisons in Washington state, over 3,000 miles away, had begun accepting Lawton prisoners because of overcrowding. Most federal prisons were also built close to military bases in case one of their high-profile prisoners tried to escape. The military would be dispatched within minutes. This one was 3 miles from Fort Lee. In the past, Petersburg honored Youth Act sentences, so the Lawton counselors thought it would be a good place for me to serve my time. But once I got there, they said they didn't offer any of the programs anymore, so they would send me somewhere else that did. I wanted to stay just long enough to see my ex-girlfriend. She had just started college 30 miles away from the prison, and I was hoping to see her one last time. I appreciated the fact that she was still writing and sending me pictures even after I asked her to continue with her life and try to forget about me. She refused. The Feds was clean, the food was good, and it had air conditioning, unlike Lawton. The compound looked like a college campus with bright green grass and pretty walkways. It was a beautiful illusion. They also had something called a 10-minute move, which Lawton didn't have. For 10 minutes on every hour, all the doors were opened and all the convicts had to go where they needed to go. You had 10 minutes to get to wherever you were going. You were then stuck wherever you went for the next hour until they called another 10-minute move. I felt like a dog on a leash. Within 2 months, I saw the counselors, and they all agreed amongst each other to send me to El Reno, Oklahoma, where they had a youth program. I never got a chance to see my ex-girlfriend because she couldn't submit the required visiting forms until she turned 18. At DC jail, when she came to visit me, she would cry the whole time. In reality, this prison stuff was too much for her young, innocent spirit. On my way to Oklahoma, I had to go through holdovers. A holdover is a prison where I would be held over for a couple days to a couple months until they provided connecting transportation to my destination. The federal government had holdover prisons all across the country like mail drop-offs. If mail was coming from California to DC, it would be held at different holding facilities and then transferred again to another facility in a different state until it reached its destination. We were the same way, like envelopes with a stamp. Mail. Mail. I was transferred to a holdover at Talladega, Alabama after an 11-hour ride on the prison bus. The Department of Alabama's military was 5 minutes away. Because we came from an institution that we pretty much controlled, it was hard to adapt to federal prison structures. The officers in the Feds controlled the prison, so they spoke with authority to the prisoners. A Lawton prisoner didn't take being spoken to with authority too well. When an officer would demand us to do something, we would all look at each other like, what the fuck he just say? The fuck is he talking about? And then we would either ignore and laugh at them or confront them about their tone. Whenever they wrote a disciplinary report or took us to the hole, we just acted out more. They expected this from DC prisoners and had a protocol set up just for us. It was in their training manuals that DC prisoners were hard to deal with and very rebellious. It was 3 butt bandits from Lawton on this trip. I knew who they were from Occoquan, and I knew that the Feds had no idea of what they were dealing with. These dudes were dangerous perverts, total psychopaths, certified predators, bloodthirsty lunatics. Within an hour after being placed in a transit block, the 25 Lawton dudes took over the phones, the TV room, the microwave, all the card games, and beat up 3 different people. We didn't deal with the bandits. They stayed amongst themselves, constantly scheming. It was a young Native American and a young European in a cell block that shared the same cell. They both looked like hippies in their late teens or early 20s. They both wore long hair with no facial hair. So as soon as the 3 butt bandits saw them, it was as if they saw the most beautiful woman on earth. They were smiling and began plotting and whispering amongst themselves. They were watching their every move without them even being aware that some psychos were plotting on raping them. I watched as the native walked out of his cell shirtless with just a towel around his waist and some flip-flops. He was going to the shower. As he entered into the shower, 2 butt bandits kicked in the door and went in behind him. All I heard was a short scuffle. Simultaneously, another bandit entered into the cell with the European, and all I heard was a loud bang, then quiet. 15 minutes later, all the bandits were back in their cells and the young guys were being taken out on stretchers, with swollen faces and blood running out their rectums. The cell block was placed on lockdown as the authorities investigated what happened. 3 weeks later, I was again stripped, cuffed, shackled, and placed onto another bus with 50 convicts. Some of the same Lawton convicts included 3 bandits and others from out of state, with none of us having any idea where we were headed to. The bandits were laughing, calling the feds a candy store.